Time, President Trump touting his administration's readiness for Florence as he defends his response to last year's hurricane in Puerto Rico and takes issue with the recently revised death toll there. That number, based on estimates from a study by researchers at George Washington University in D.C. The president tweeting 3,000 people did not die in the two hurricanes that hit Puerto Rico. When I left the island after the storm had hit, they had anywhere from 6 to 18 deaths. As time went by, it did not go up by as much. Then, a long time later, they started to report really large numbers like 3,000. This was done by the Democrats in order to make me look as bad as possible when I was successfully raising billions of dollars to help rebuild Puerto Rico. If a person died for any reason like old age, just add them onto the list. Bad politics. Sure. I love Puerto Rico. Speaking of bad politics, those tweets triggering a furious response from Democrats. The number two in the House, Steny Hoyer, saying President Trump's tweet this morning denying the official death toll from Hurricanes Irma and Maria are beyond comprehension and deeply offensive to the thousands of American families who lost loved ones. Only Donald Trump would try to make the deaths of nearly 3,000 Americans into a story about himself and his political fortunes. All this as the president says his administration is ready for whatever Florence throws their way.
My administration is in close coordination with state and local authorities, tremendous people working on the hurricane, first responders, law enforcement, and FEMA, and they're all ready, and we're getting tremendous accolades from politicians and the people. We are ready, but this is going to be one of the biggest ones to ever hit our country. Residents in the path of these devastating storms should comply with all evacuation orders and other emergency instructions. Protection of life is the absolute highest priority, and that's what we're doing.
Steve, let me give you some other numbers that are really important right now. 5 states have declared a state of emergency. 1.7 million people in the Carolinas and in Virginia is told to evacuate. 10 million people in the path of Florence. And instead, they're fighting back and forth about what happened in Puerto Rico. It is incredibly distasteful.
Yeah, totally.
I don't know why the president weighed in on this one.
The word that came to my mind was just completely unseemly. I mean, what is this about? I think that it's one of those moments when you really respect the elected officials below the federal level, because they're the ones often that deal with the things that affect people's lives, governors and mayors and so on. They're doing the really hard work on the ground. Of course, the federal government will be there to help. I'm sure President Trump's completely right, and quite rightly putting the resources of the federal government there. But this political argument is really, as I say, unseemly. I mean, it's just, what are we doing?
Yeah, I don't know. It cheapens us as a country.
And I mean,
because we could do more for people around the world and at home than anybody else on the planet. We do. We are so heart-filled when it comes to the rescues and all of this. To have that be the conversation right now.
But I think it says something about what's going on. I mean, you know, it's a phrase that others have used, the politicization of everything these days.
Yeah.
And let's be honest, this began during what happened in Puerto Rico, because I remember very clearly at that time, I felt the same emotion about what was being done in terms of attacking President Trump. You saw the mayor of San Juan, for example. I mean, she was practically a co-host on MSNBC during that time.
Yeah. She was printing T-shirts.
Going on and on and on about, and before it was even clear exactly what had happened. And so the politicization has been going on for a long time.